Impress your friends. Amaze your coworkers. Make your family proud. Here's what you need to know.
I'ma tell you what you need to
Fourth
know.
quarter of the program begins right now. Finishing strong on a Friday. You're done working. We're not. That's the kind of commitment we make here at the program. We're here for you on a Friday.
Yep.
Going the distance, the full 4 hours. You know anyone else who works 4 full hours every day?
No.
No, I don't know.
Not a single person.
Our Need to Know brought to you by my friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, smart home technology, in-home theaters, rocket-fast Wi-Fi inside your house, outside your house. How about some music outside your house? Every room of your house, that's Applause Custom Sight and Sound. The best of the business, almost 20 years in business in an industry where most companies don't last two. First time I had Applause at my house, 2004. 2004. You want a sports bar? Well, actually, if you own a sports bar, you can call Applause Custom Sight and Sound. They do residential and commercial business. Maybe you just need a high-end electronic setup for your office. You know, you need that conference room where you can do all the presentations and everything. Applause does that as well. Call 913-498-1183. Call them right now. Call Chuck and the guys. Let's see if they're still there at 5:05 on a Friday. Call them right this minute. Demand to speak to him. Tell him I said to call. 913-498-1183. You can find them on the web at applausetheater.com. I don't know if they might be in the office right now. Maybe not. Applausetheater.com. They'll be there Monday.
Yeah.
The guys are phenomenal. Standing behind their projects. That's one of the most important things. I really can't stress that enough, that you've got a company that's there. Technology evolves. You want to add on? You want to do something different? You don't need some fly-by-night company that's not going to be around in a couple of years. Call the best. Call Applause, Custom Sight and Sound. Online at applausetheater.com. Pretty damn good guys, too. I'm going to tell you that as well.
Yep.
And if you're talking to Corey, ask him about music, because I think he knows everything about music. You would enjoy talking to Corey. Yeah, you would enjoy talking to Corey. He's the one who got me onto a lot of different tunes. So, good folks there at Applause Custom Sight and Sound. Let's start with what you need to know besides just the quality of work you're going to get at Applause Custom Sight and Sound. News today from the Kansas City Chiefs. We heard Adam Teicher. Illness for Tyrann Mathieu has him out, so we will see. That could put him in question for the game, but right now not on the practice field today. So we will see. We'll follow that. Again, don't have to play till Monday, so that makes it a little bit more likely that he will be able to get back and get on the field. Chiefs at the podium today. Today was like a Thursday, so it was coordinator day at the podium. They also brought Frank Clark out. We'll start there. Pass rush, not so good. Adam Teicher asked Frank Clark why the pass rush just hasn't been very good.
You got to finish plays. I feel like finishing plays is a lot to do with it. You watch film, we'll get to the quarterback, and not all the time is a guy, making an actual play. You missing a sack, some guys falling off, allowing the quarterback to, slide off some of those plays. I feel like plays like that. I was just talking to guys. I was like, man, it's like going to the third game in a row where, as a defensive line, we haven't had a lot of sack production. I believe the last time we had a sack as a D-line was against the Philadelphia Eagles. And, I was just talking to the guys, because it pisses me off, because, you watch games and you watch guys have, 6-7 sacks a game, as a defensive line unit. And, it's inspiring because those are the same things that you want to do as a defensive line every week. So, of course, it's something that's always on my mind as one of the leaders of the defense, because, I just want the best for my group. And, it's tough watching, a struggle in those regards, but, we're struggling as a defense. And, if we don't figure it out sooner than later, then it's just going to be a longer season than it's been already.
I don't know.
This is all true, is what I want to say. Whether it's who's talking about himself when he says a group, but the things he said aren't being done.
He spent a lot of time today also talking about his hamstring injury, and he was asked about it. I mean, he didn't bring it up, but talking about what all he's been through and how long it dragged him down. Listen, the only hope for the Chiefs getting back to being a true championship contender is for Frank Clark to play like a player that deserves a $100 million contract. I mean, even if he plays lights out the rest of the way, you have to cut him. I don't see how you could stay the course with that cap number and the injury history. He's hurt a lot.
Yep.
That's one of the other problems for him. And Chris Jones has got to start becoming a menace. They have to get a better pass rush. Maybe not this week against the Giants, but if they're going to be a better team, they have to get a better pass rush. Steve Spagnuolo discussing the pass rush again, the Teich bag, asking him how surprised he is that they haven't been better rushing the passer.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know whether it's surprise. You don't know. You never know what you're going to get going into each season. I think we talked about this before. Coaches have said it. I believe in it as well as most other coaches. It takes you 4 games into it to figure out what you have and what you are. And we've been doing that. Sometimes when the pieces aren't all healthy, it takes a little bit longer. I was talking with Tyrann Mathieu about that this week. I mean, we might finally start to have an idea of what we are and who we can be and what we can do and what we can't do. But again, there's still some moving pieces here. I don't go into a season saying I know we're going to get this. I really don't do that. So I'm not so sure surprise is a good word.
All right. If surprise isn't the right word, Adam Teicher asked Spagnuolo, then flat out, why hasn't the pass rush been better?
I don't know. I mean, there's been some things there where some of the teams we've played have been pretty good. We've had the pass run issues. We haven't gotten them into the quote unquote passing situations, I think, as much as you want to. When you're ahead in the game, I mean, go back to the Cleveland game. Yeah, when we finally got ahead, it was different, and we could play a little bit differently. So then I think we all felt coming out of that game, like in the second half, I think we felt like we had a decent pass rush. It's been a while now, but I thought we did some good things. So maybe the ebb and flow of the game has changed it a little bit. The teams that it happened again today as we did third down. There's these teams that are running the ball on third down. That changes you a little bit. We just got to get in those situations where we know it's passed so we can pin our ears back and go.
In other situations, what do you have to do to get your pass rush going? Your 4-man rush.
Yeah, listen, what do you have to do? I mean, everybody's got to play faster. Everybody's got to play better. The coach has to coach, make better calls. I don't know that I have, a full. I don't have to have a complete solution about that. Everybody's got to play better. I think it's the best thing to say.
I think he's right. I mean, listen, they all work on the blackboard. Right? If your front 4 can beat 5 and get to the quarterback, everything else works back behind it. And, I think he's protecting his guys. They've sucked, period. End of discussion. I mean, a lot of money being paid to guys on the defensive line and they're not getting it done. End of discussion.
Yes.
It's right there. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Spagnuolo and his scheme and all that. When you have 25% of your cap going to the defensive line, 4 guys should get there. Hell, a 3-man rush should get there, and it's not. Now, you could say, well, what the hell is Chris Jones doing on the outside? He needs to be on the inside. Okay, fair point, but he was back inside against Tennessee. And here's the problem, is that like when you squander games early, winnable games against the Ravens and Chargers, had they won those 2 games, they're sitting at 5-2 right now. If the answer is, well, Tyrann Mathieu's thumb is messed up and Chris Jones' wrist is messed up, and okay, well, but you gave away games. You can't take we can talk about 2019 where they lost a couple of games and fell to 6-4, and that was the low watermark, giving up big rushing games. But that was because of injuries, and you got guys back. Yeah. Right? You've already been losing, and you weren't hurt. So injuries are just going to make it worse now. I think he's really protecting his guys. I just think the players aren't playing very well. I think it's on them. They've got to play better because they've been, 3rd and 16, and a screen pass got a first down.
Right.
I mean, he's like, well, what we need is those long, get him in it. Well, you had it, and you're not stopping him on that either.
No. And he said when asked if you need more from Clark, he said, we need more from everybody. So he's clearly protecting Frank Clark in that regard. What you said earlier was correct.
You listen, Frank Clark is not getting $100+ million to be one of the guys.
No.
Simple as that. I mean, yeah, Frank Clark is Chris Jones at least had one good game.
Yeah, it's been 7 weeks, but.
So, anyway. All right, Eric Bieniemy talking turnovers. Adam Teicher, apparently this is a one-on-one with Teicher.
Adam was good today.
His questions were good. That's why we have him on.
Exactly.
He does a hell of a job. But he asked Eric Bieniemy, if it's at the point where the offense turns it over and thinks, Oh, here we go again.
I don't believe that. I don't think that at all. On top of that, you got to give the other team some credit. Tennessee did a hell of a job. Let's be frank. Let's be honest. They kicked our ass. Okay. So when you get your ass kicked, you reevaluate everything. And so guys got to take a look at themselves. Coaches got to take a look at themselves. And then we got to make sure that we're dotting all our I's and crossing our T's and making sure that we're doing what is right for our team to make sure they're mentally ready, but on top of that, physically ready to play as well.
Kicked our ass.
I appreciate that after his laughing at the question a couple of weeks ago about whether or not the NFL had caught up to him. And they did in that game, right? I think there's no way to say it.
About that.
They were ready for everything you had, everything you could throw at them. We'll see. Chiefs 9.5-point favorites over the Giants Monday Night Football. Another day to talk about this intriguing game.
It's intriguing.
It's really not. It's the Giants.
I looked at Jetty's nods. Yes, intriguing.
One of the more bizarre endings to a football game. The Arizona Cardinals.
Intriguing. Yeah. Good Lord.
Packers go for it on 4th and short. I had this discussion with Eager. There was the right call to go for it on 4th down. They just had a bad play call.
Of course. Because it didn't work.
Didn't work. It's a bad play call. Right choice. Bad play call. Cliff Kingsbury then saw his Cardinals go down the field. They get to where they're knocking on the doorstep. They're right there inside the 10, ready for a field goal to tie it, but can win it. They throw it in. Ball's picked off. A.J. Green never even turns around and looks for the ball. Cliff Kingsbury asked after the game what happened on that play.
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to those guys yet. Miscommunication, obviously.
What was the plan that last play? What did you want just in general?
That. One-on-one over there, yeah. We didn't run the route, and the guy made a good play. So I'm not sure, like I said, it wasn't a route that we thought we had checked, and so we got to communicate better in those situations.
Cliff, do you feel like that's the back shoulder is the one route that's not going to be intercepted?
Yeah, we feel like it's a safe throw if he knew the route to run, no question. Yeah, they brought zero. It was the right place to go with the ball. Just didn't communicate on some level, and then the guy made a good play.
Guy did make a good play. The ball could have easily just sailed right past it. He was alert and managed to tip the ball just enough to catch it on the rebound.
Other teams make screwy plays as well. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, there's an example of it. That was a hot mess.
Been watching for 45 years. I've never seen that.
Yeah, the guy. He looked like he was watching the video board. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Baker Mayfield is scheduled to start on Sunday, even with the injured shoulder. Packers lost more players last night. They lost Robert Tonyan, their tight end, and their third-string running back, kick returner Kylan Hill, went down to that, so they continue to get banged up. Marshall, they've been in like 9 conferences. They've been in like the MAC. They've been in. They're leaving Conference USA, headed to the Sun Belt.
Sun Belt now.
Sun Belt's now a better conference than Conference USA. It didn't used to be that way, but it is now. Today is National Stroke Day, National Cat Day, and National Hermit Day. In other words, we call it Jed Day. These are things that are all near and dear to Jed's heart. He lost his mother to a stroke a little over a year ago. We remember your mom. 2 cats, Marley and Dopey. Okay. And he's definitely a hermit. So
yes.
Happy Jed Day.
Thank you.
To everybody out there. Jed Marshall, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy calling the shots. We'll take a break. When we come back, Kevin Harlan. We turn it over to the big guy. The voice of America is next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
Now remember, we're here to impress the girlfriends of guys we barely know. So when you get the ball, throw it like a cannon. You must throw your arm out on every play.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Kevin Harlan is presented by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar. Relax. They'll take it from here.
He calls the NBA.
Game! Series!
The NFL.
He digs, he turns, he dives. It is a touchdown!
March Madness.
And that is the dagger.
And even this.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. The guy is drunk.
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
How many jobs Kevin got?
Somebody stop that man.
Here comes the blue coat.
Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
He's the voice of America, Kevin Harlan.
And welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, finishing up strong on a Friday with the great Kevin Harlan, the voice of America, CBS, TNT, Westwood One. You hear him at all those locations, Bengals at Jets. That's on CBS. You'll hear Kevin's call right there. He and Trent Green with that great call. Monday Night Football, of course, Chiefs and Giants. And then on Tuesday, TNT, the NBA, up and running. He's got the Heat and the Mavericks. Pretty good games. Well, let's be honest, the Chiefs and Giants aren't a good game. I mean, theoretically. It's good because it's the Chiefs, Kevin, but
right.
As the voice of the Bengals now, as you had many a Bengal game, you got to love that game, right?
Well, they are, I think, every week, right, Seren, it's a different narrative in the NFL, and it seems like right now that the Bengals are kind of the hot topic. The week before, it was Baltimore. They had beaten the Chiefs. They had come from behind to beat the Indy Colts. They took care of the Los Angeles Chargers, and they handled those 3 wins so well. And then they played the Bengals last week. But up until that time, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, they were the 2 main topics in the NFL. Now, the Bengals are the hot topic because they went into Baltimore last week, that Trent and I did, and won that game. And so now they continue that road. Next week, they've got Cleveland. So this is kind of an interesting game for Cincinnati, which is 5-2. They lead a good division. But last week, Baltimore on the road, tough division foe. Next week, Cleveland, in-state rival. And this week, they've got the Jets, which are going to a backup quarterback from a rookie quarterback. So will this be a trap game? Can they get by this? Can they stay mentally strong, which I think shows the resilience of the good teams down the stretch? Can they handle the games that they're supposed to win, that maybe don't get your juices going, but they still handle business, get the win, and move on and prepare for the next week? And that'll be the charge for the Bengals this week.
The Bengals, 1 seed, just what we knew, right?
Yeah, right.
It would be the 1 seed, right?
And Arizona would be undefeated, and we had Green Bay after getting slaughtered in opening weekend in New Orleans would be 7-1, like 7 consecutive wins. I mean, who can figure out this league? It's impossible, isn't it? Just impossible.
Jeff Chania gave me grief because I had the Bengals as a wild card, right, at the beginning of the year.
At the beginning of the year. Good for you. Yeah. Smart you. Of course.
Yeah,
of course
but
you did.
I didn't have them as a 1 seed. Trust me, I didn't see them going into Baltimore and winning. So
I don't think they're going to be a 1 seed, but I do think they're a playoff team. They've spent, and I think we've mentioned this, they've spent $230 million, Seren, the last 2 years on their defense. And it shows. And, we'll talk about teams that have gone, so far into free agency, gone all in on the draft, whatever they've done. And they've spent money and they've put resources toward it and nothing happens, right? We see it every year. This is one of those, I don't want to say exceptions, but this is one of those stories where every amount of draft capital and every penny that they have spent has paid off so far. It's a pretty remarkable story.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Hendrickson, the DN from the Saints, was my prime target for the Chiefs. That was my dream Chiefs landing spot. But of course, they had a lot to do on the offensive line, so they didn't get to the defensive end spot. Hey, we talk about all the great access that you get being with CBS and TNT and Westwood One. And you had a chance this past week. We were talking before we got started about getting a chance to do something with Tom Brady, like the King of Kings when it comes
like what you and I do. Well, like this, right? We on a podcast, which will go to YouTube, I think, and then it's on Sirius XM. So Brady, a couple weeks ago, came up with this idea of getting 15 to 20. He had a list of people that he could have ask him a question on his weekly show, which is a podcast and which is on Sirius XM. And he came up with this list, and for whatever reason, he must have been getting a lot of no's. I got on that list. So it was me and Peter King and Bill Cower and Jim Nance and Chris Berman and Dan Patrick and Colin Coward and Scott Van Pelt and
but
Aaron.
Anybody else accomplish anything?
Kevin was
Aaron Andrews, Jay Glazer. It was like all these guys, Adam Schefter, all these guys, people were on this show, and we could ask one question of Tom Brady. And I was in Seattle. I had done the game the day before in Baltimore, and then flew Sunday night into Seattle. So I was a little groggy when they began this, and they began at kind of an early hour, Seattle time especially. But I had to come up with one question, and I really didn't think of it until that morning, what I was going to ask. And but it was so cool to be on with all these people. And before we had actually started, they had it on a Zoom, but through microphones like you and I are using for this show. We had a chance to see everybody like in the big Brady Bunch box. You know, like you saw 12 different faces on there on one page. And I was just looking at the people on this page, in this group, and on this podcast, and on this show for Sirius XM, and was pretty floored they were able to get all these people together within an hour span. Like they got, here's the time, we need you there, and we've all got schedules. Clearly, I had a game that night, and they still got everybody together. So to see him on this was really a very unique situation, and I felt very lucky to be a part of it. Like, you know, when you ever walk in a room and go, I don't think I belong here. Like you look at them, oh my God, like look at all these people. And sure enough, we had a chance to visit amongst us during the pre-taping, and it was great. And then all of a sudden, we're on there kind of all talking amongst ourselves, asking questions and where we are and what we're doing and, whatever. And then here comes Brady on. Brady's got his cap on backwards. He looks like he's in some kind of a recording situation in his home in Tampa. And he jumps in and chimes in on the conversation pre-taping and talks like he's one of us, like long-lost buddies, and says, hey, Dan, hey, Kev, hey, Saran, hey, like he just rattled. It was really fun. Nice to be a part of. There are few times in your career where you have a chance to kind of, because we never visit, none of us in the business, all doing the same things, never talk, never cross paths because we're all in different locations.
Sure.
Scott Van Pelt was in Washington. Dan Patrick was in New York in his studio. Chris Berman was home in Connecticut. Bill Cowher was at his home, I think, in North Carolina on an island. And so like we're all over the place. Shefty happened to be in Seattle because he was doing the game that night for ESPN, right, the pregame show. So anyway, so it was fun to visit. And then here comes Brady joining the group of conversations, and it was really unique. It was really fun.
Kevin Harlan is with us here in the program, crushing our dreams, our beliefs that Tom Brady's a bad guy. What we want to believe is that he's a bad guy, and you know the frustration we have with him beating our Kansas City Chiefs, it's warranted. You're telling us he's a nice man?
I think he is. In fact, I told my kids last night, we were carving pumpkins last night, and I was saying, because they were asking about this, and I said, he's the kind of guy that literally you could see and maybe not have seen for 10 years, and he will treat you like you just had a beer last night and you were watching a game together, or he had you over for cooking burgers on his back patio. I mean, he really has no airs about him. I've told you the story, I think, before, how when our son was a little guy, I would take him on, occasionally on Sunday trips with me for CBS. And we were doing a Patriot at Cleveland Brown game. And Saturday nights we meet with the visiting team. They fly in, they come to the hotel, then they come right to our room, our meeting room, and we visit for about 15, 20 minutes. And Brady came in and said hello to everybody. And he saw my son in the back. And I told Robert, I said, just sit in the back and watch. And maybe at the very end, I'll bring you up. And Brady says, who's that guy back there? And I said, well, that's my son, Robert. Brady gets up, walks the length of the room, back to the corner, shakes hands with Robert. And I said, Robert, tell him about your family. He says, I have 3 older sisters. And Brady says, well, let me tell you something, Robert. I've got 3 older sisters too. And you know what? They all work for me now. So we like to tell that story in our family. And it was a fun moment. And Robert, just go, he's like 7 years old, right, when we did that. But it was really unique. And he remembers every moment of it. So it's even better.
He's 7, but Tom Brady's like all of 6'5". Right?
Yes.
Not a small guy when he comes over there. Like, if he's already larger than life, you see him on TV, you see him on commercials. If you're a 7-year-old kid to see this guy walk over, it's like, oh.
Listen, he's a dad. he gets it. I mean, right? He gets it. And even at that time, I think he had a couple young children. And I've done the same thing, too, when we did a Colts game and Peyton Manning came in, saw my son, got up, went to the back, said something to the PR guy that was there. The PR guy leaves. We do our conversation, our question. We talked to Peyton, who was just like in these meetings and tells you so much. And Peyton up, the PR guy comes back in, and he's holding a Colts jersey, and number what number is Peyton? Is he
18?
What number was Manning? I can't even remember. 18, thank you. Number 18 Colts jersey. And he goes, come on over here, Robert, and signs the jersey to Robert Peyton Manning, on the back of your and those happen like that never happens. So I don't want people to think that and we get incredible access and we're thankful for it. That never happens. But for those, like, here are the two biggest names, right, in pro football at the time, Brady and Manning, and both were incredibly nice to just this kid. So those were two nice moments.
Kevin Harley, jersey collector, here in the right now. It's got to be. I've never
asked for an autograph. By the way, I've never done it. I've thought about it. I've wanted to many times, but I've never done it.
I'm like you. In fact, our press credentials say we can't, right? If you
exactly.
You lose your press credential, because I always get people like, hey, can you get me this or that? I'm like, no, I'll lose my press credential if I do. But, I think it is amazing. I guess the story's true then that, like, after a game, like, LeBron will take his jersey off, give it to you, and you take your blazer off and give it to LeBron. Is that how it works?
No. But I do have a story with that, too. Okay. LeBron, when he was first in the NBA and not yet an all-star, but clearly a meteoric, ascending like star, right? Did the I guess we did the rookie game. I think we did the rookie game at All-Star one weekend, and he was my analyst. He sat next. We sat, but my son was at this particular All-Star game, and he signed a shoe for my son. He had come out with the LeBron shoe, and it was only one shoe. But again, not asking, he just did it. His handler brought up a shoe, they signed it, and he had the thing. And the other thing funny about these All-Star games, and my son did collect, but I would say you're not with me. You just sit over there, and if you get them, great. If you don't, great. He had jerseys for like 10 different players, for like Kobe and Dirk and all these great players and Paul Pierce. So Paul Pierce would be walking off the practice floor on All-Star practice Friday, and Robert would quickly put on the Paul Pierce thing. Hey, Paul, can I get? And he'd sign the thing, and then Paul Pierce would go, and then quickly he would take that. Here come Dirk Nowitzki. He put on the Dirk Nowitzki number 41 Dallas Maverick jersey, and then hey, Dirk, can I get your? These guys. Oh my gosh, here's one of my fans. And that quickly would take that off. Here come Derrick Rose with the Chicago Bulls. Hey, Derrick, can you say right? Boom, boom, boom. So he was a rascal. And anyway, but I've. Yeah, you're like we can't ask for autographs. You'd like to get pictures, right? You like to get pictures with these people and stuff, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I wonder where your son gets it from, Kevin. Where does it come from?
His sisters. That's where he gets it from.
I may or may not have had a Corona or two with a former college fraternity brother of yours, and might have heard a story or two that I think that your son may get it from yourself.
Well, who was that?
I don't know. I don't know that I can, sworn to secrecy.
Okay.
May have heard a story or two that I was told, ask this. And so I'm just waiting for the right day.
Do it. You can ask anything. You can let it fly.
I actually have to go get on my phone and find the note.
Okay. Then next week, all right? Next week.
Yes, you just jogged my memory about that. Wonderful guy, by the way. Just ran into him over at the tavern in Mission Farms. Kelly Manning's the fine proprietor of the tavern. There's one in Prairie Village as well, and a good friend of the program. And I was we were at his restaurant. A gentleman was just there at the bar. We were just having a couple of appetizers and a couple of Coronas, and struck up a conversation. Turns out, a college buddy of yours.
Wow.
So, doing my intel.
That's scary. That's Maybe we should have a pre-production meeting before we unveil that.
I think we will.
Story, okay?
Hence, the story's not coming out right now. So
Thank you, Seren.
You're always.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for, Kevin. I look out for you. Right? No, it was not. There was, just for the record, there was nothing bad whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah.
Just talking about
pretty dorky, actually. I do remember.
Anyway, he actually said you're a pretty slick guy. Said, Kevin was a slick guy. So, but no, had nothing. Absolutely, there's nothing to worry about. Nothing.
Okay.
And I said, well, let me tell you the real story.
Yeah, well, let me dig up some real shovelfuls right here. I'll
tell you what. You don't know about the autograph ring Kevin's running out the back of his house? No, I'm kidding. We're talking to Kevin Harlan here in the program. I do want to ask you, like the Chiefs, you like I said, you get such great access to coaches and players in your position. Can you think of a time where somebody had so much expectations, was struggling, and then turned it around this late? I kind of feel like the Giants are a game you're going to call it on Monday Night Football for Westwood One. We'll hear it here on the home of the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB. But have you seen a time where somebody could be this off, it seems like, and they got it together and went on a run?
Yes. I mean, this season is not close to being over. Not with what they've got, not the firepower, not the experience, not the wars they've been in, not the battles they've fought. They, I think, have every right to feel great about what's coming up and taking into account what has happened. They rebuilt an offensive line. It clearly has not been what they envisioned this deep into the season. Orlando Brown moving from one position at Baltimore to here, the left side, it probably hasn't turned out quite like they thought. Not that it not will, but it right now is like the offensive line, not what they were hoping. The quarterback clearly is hero ball is such a I don't like that, because I think on every play, every player tries to do the best of their ability. And I've heard some people this week call it hero ball, and I don't know that he is doing things that he can't do. But he probably, and he has conceded this with his last couple of weeks, is maybe trying to do a little bit too much and straying a bit from what a design play or what the theme of that particular play might be. He's explained it well enough. He's been honest, and I think you trust his analysis and what they're telling him and how he's funneling through that his mind and getting through it. So that clearly is a story, but I don't think time for panic. He's not changed since last year. He's a brilliant quarterback, a generational talent, as are the people around him. The defense obviously has been a bad portion of this first part of the year, and people are going to point to that, and it's never one thing, but that's a big part of what clearly has happened to this team. Frank Clark and Chris Jones they've got to be significant these next 11 weeks, I think. I think those two players, those are signature players, and they've got to be significant. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. And really, I think you win this week. They go 4-4, and they are, I think, still very relevant and incredibly dangerous. And people are going to start thinking, okay, well, their time is come and gone. And I think that will be a death sentence for any team that comes in thinking that or faces them in their home field. I still think the Chiefs have got a lot ahead of them, most of it good. A little turbulence now, certainly, but I like all of us, I think there's still – the bones are great. The framework is there. Not a lot has changed. And I still think they're going to be incredibly dangerous as the season continues to unwind.
I think they'll be looking around at the trade deadline, but they have so little cap room to try to be able
that's
to
a problem.
On. I heard Mike Tannenbaum on ESPN said the Chiefs need to find a second tight end. And one of the guys I've heard speculated on is because of how well Pitts, the tight end with the Falcons, is doing that. Hayden Hurst, former first-round pick of the Ravens, went over to the Falcons, that he could be available for the Falcons, whether it's him or somebody else. And I bring his name up because he makes less than $2 million. He's on a rookie contract, last year of a rookie contract, and the Falcons didn't pick up the fifth-year option.
To me, I've always thought he was a pretty talented guy. I mean, he went 25th overall in the draft when he came out. Is a second tight end? Yeah, because I don't think you're going to get an edge rusher for less than $2 million, although Melvin Ingram's name has been thrown around. What do you think they need most if they were to try to shop for something here at the deadline? All right, I think we lost Kevin. We'll get him back on. No, we have him back. All right, we have him back.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yes.
I hit the wrong button. I don't know if I can get it back.
The technology wizard, Kevin Harlan, with us here at the program.
Right.
I love it.
I heard your question. I heard your question.
Okay. What do they need? What do you think?
Well, I have heard you talk about playing matchup football, and you can't believe how many times I hear coaches say the same thing. So you clearly are on that same understanding. These coaches feel on any team, in any situation, in any game, it's become more like the NBA in terms of matchups and matchup football than ever before. And sure, they could use some help at tight end. They could use help any place, as all teams could. They're all flawed. I would say that you get to this time of year, you got a quarterback who you are prepared for as a defense to do extraordinary things with his arm. Thus, you're heightened for the pass. I say maybe reel it back just a little bit and beef up or somehow show more in the run game. Take what you've got back there in terms of your backs, but just put them out there a little bit more. Design more things in a game plan for them. The easiest thing to do when you got Rodgers or Brady or Mahomes is to, say, listen, the arm is always going to bail us out. Let's just stick with what has gotten us here. Let's stick with what has been our signature, our passing game, our explosive offense. And we get all those things. But there are times that a quarterback's best friend is a good run game, and there's nothing that puts an offense in a better position against an expecting defense than to fool them or to surprise them. And that defense would be more on guard if a running game was there and thus be held like, now what's going to come at us in this play? So if you can run the ball clearly, as we've heard forever, if anyone's ever followed football, they know a good running game is essential to an offense. And I would say perhaps accent that more, push that more to the forefront. Push those chips into the table and see where it gets you. Yeah, I think, I labeled it the other night on our podcast, the body blows, right? Boxing, pound away at the body a little bit. It's great if you're a great knockout artist and maybe when you're young and in your prime, you can headhunt and get the knockout. So you get older, you got to invest with the body blows and slow down your opposition. And I think, not that the Chiefs are old, but maybe the system is being caught up to. You got to fight like more of a traditional fighter, and you got to pound away a little bit with that run game. That always happens, right? The defense always figures out a way, even with the rules and things favoring the offense, as most people, figure that, the defense is constantly playing catch up, but they do catch up. They always do. And maybe there is some element of that. I don't know quite sure if that's it. I think it's a lot of things, as we always talk about. But I would say if they could emphasize or they could find, some renewed running attack, weapons, ideas, thoughts, just more of a reliant, I think that would probably help. And I guess I feel, too, that, we're kind of getting into the time of year where weather, I think, Monday, it sounds like it's going to be sloppy. And on that field, why not have a running game? And think of this, too. All the good teams have something of a running game right now, whether it's Mixon in Cincinnati, whether it's, we saw the Green Bay running back last night. It was terrific. And what he did and how he helped out Rodgers, even the best teams, even Brady needed Fournette down in Tampa. So all the good teams have got some kind of running element. And I thought the Chiefs have completely abandoned that, but maybe revive that a little bit as you go into this second half or approaching the second half of the season. But back to your initial thought and back what we were talking about. Listen, right now, if this team were 500 at the beginning of December, I would say that is terrific. And opposing teams, watch out. And I like the Chiefs' chances in that scenario. I think they'll be above 500. But if they are still trying to figure what's going on, I would take that going into the month of December because it's proven that teams win even when they come in 500.
We're talking to Kevin Harlan here on the program. Time for our Final Four. It's brought to you by the University of Kansas Health System. It is the official healthcare provider of the Chiefs. If you have an urgent sports injury, the University of Kansas Health System has a Saturday morning walk-in clinic. It's at 435 and all. Learn more at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine. Kevin, I will move quickly here. I know you're busy, so I will start you with this. You mentioned carving pumpkins. Scary pumpkins or happy pumpkins?
Both. That's funny you asked that because our grandkids were over here with our kids last night, and this is one of those days in the fall that we always kind of circle on the calendar. Annie made some soup and which she does so well, and we had hearty soup, and we had pumpkins. Watched the game last night, had fires going. It was and it was kind of rainy outside, so it was great atmosphere, but the weather kind of lent us to probably going down the path of more scary pumpkins.
Okay.
But we carved a Chiefs pumpkin, a Packer pumpkin, a happy one, and a sad one. So we kind of covered all bases right there.
Yeah, I like it. Sad weather equals sad pumpkin. Good
yes,
call.
Well said, Corinne. Well said.
You mentioned Tom Brady wearing his hat backwards. When was the last time you had your hat on backwards?
Well, it's probably when we get in the boat in the summer, when we're going a little bit fast, and I need to have something on the top of my head, and so I'll turn that baby backwards. Otherwise, it's going to fly off. But I'd say probably at times this summer. But I don't do it all that much, to be honest. I was when I was younger, but I'm not at that stage in life now. And I look stupid.
You're never too old to put the hat backwards, Kevin.
I guess not. Yet.
Never too old. Like all right. You mentioned LeBron sitting down with you at a broadcast. When was the last time you wore a headband? I know he doesn't do it anymore, but the early part of his career, he was known for the headband. When was the last time you wore a sweatband?
I don't think I ever have. I don't think I've worn them on my wrist when I played in high school, but I never wore a headband. I never did it. I don't like the look of it. I can't even. I remember when Christian Laettner was playing with the Timberwolves, and Laettner wore one. I felt like, Tom, you look so dumb. Like, just take it. Like, you look dumb. Some guys don't look good. Some guys look great in it. LeBron looks great. A lot of these guys do, but Laettner with his long hair did not look good at that time. I just felt like saying, hey, dude, so let's lose that. But anyway. Just a personal preference, but I've never worn one. Never.
It added to his, I think, the 30 for 30. Talking, what do they call him? The most hated player, or something like that was kind of the theme of the 30 for 30 about him. Yeah. Maybe if he had gotten rid of the headband, that wouldn't have been the case, right?
Well, we never did it at Duke. In the NBA, he started doing it. And, he was an all-star one year. I think with Atlanta, he was an all-star.
Yeah.
His career was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't near what, there's an argument to be said he was the greatest college player of all time, too, Christian.
Yeah.
That's a whole other show. We'll have to do a whole show on Laettner.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll do a show on Laettner sometime. He's an interesting dude. Yeah.
All right. And finally, you mentioned the players autographing their jerseys. When you get asked for autographs, would you autograph a sports coat? What is it you autograph for the kids?
I don't get asked. If anybody ever asked for my, which is rare and hardly ever, they'll bring a NBA 2K video game, maybe to a game, and they'll have to sign the cover of it or something like that. But I don't. I ooze into the group. I disappear.
I could just
no one asks me, and
I could just see a busy night of Harlan fans coming by, and first it's the jacket, then the tie comes off, and you autograph the tie, and where do you go next? The shirt? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, no. I was on a plane the other day. and I can't even tell you where I was going. And the flight attendant brought up a piece of paper and said, "There's someone in the back that would like you to sign this to whatever the boy's name. I think it was John." And I signed it and kept looking back and thinking, it was a big plane, so I didn't know who it was or how far back it was. But that did happen the other day, but maybe they got me mixed up with somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah,
they probably thought it was.
You signed Tom Brady, Yeah,
I should have. I should have. No, I don't forget what I said.
Stop. Kevin, you're the man. We know there's many an autograph thrown your way. We appreciate the modesty.
I bet you sign them. All the time. You're so well known.
I believe I can count on I will say maybe two hands how many times I've been asked for an autograph, and I'm always amazingly, one, my first reaction is, what's wrong with you? My second reaction is I'm very touched that somebody would think, and I would guarantee that there's not one of the handful of autographs that I've ever signed that still exists. I mean, I'm sure it. Number one, you can't read it because my signature.
Well, I'm changing that. I'm changing that narrative. I'm going to get your autograph. I'm going to put it up there in my office. The next time we're on that Zoom thing, if I don't hit the wrong button and disconnect us, it's going to be seen in the back of my in the back on my wall.
Yeah, I won't let that happen, Kevin. There's real member. Yeah, no, my name.
I'm putting it up there.
Not going with LeBron
with your picture
and Brady and Peyton Manning. No, that's not happening. I won't allow it. I won't allow it.
I don't have their autograph. I don't have their autographs.
I'm sure the collection is pretty good, and so I will not tarnish it. That will not happen. Kevin, you're the man. Have some great calls, and we'll talk to you again next Friday, brother.
Always enjoy. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully at Arrowhead on Monday night. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll hopefully get a Chiefs win and get this baby back on the tracks.
Oh, let's hope. Kevin, safe travels, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
So thank you, Soren. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
The program with Soren Petro.
I'm out.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're almost done for the day, but there's just a few more things we'd like to share.
But there's still more.
Here's the kicker.
Here's the kicker of this whole thing.
On the program.
But first, the Joe's Kansas City Barbecue burnt end of the hour answer. Rookies Luis Garcia and Ian Anderson face off tonight in World Series Game 3. What was the last World Series matchup of rookie pitchers? When it goes back to 2006, Game 1, Anthony Reyes of the Cardinals and a guy named Justin Verlander, who would go on to a little bit of success with the Tigers.
Playing for Joe's?
Joe's
Kansas City Barbecue. What a great way to start your weekend. Go to joeskc.com. You can order right now. The drive-thru is the best way to go. There's a drive-up pickup. Best way to go. Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Get you some today. You can send it anywhere in the country. It's chili season, too. Don't sleep on their chili. They got great chili at Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Of course, best fries in town, best barbecue in town. It's Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Go online to joeskc.com. Deshaun Jackson and the Rams have reportedly agreed to seek a trade for Deshaun Jackson. He would cost, I think, $2.7 million is what would have to come of him in a deal. Would you make a trade for Deshaun Jackson? I can tell you that he's averaging 27.6 yards per catch. He's only had 8 catches for 221 yards. But his yards per catch, while not being able to play many games, really since 2014, starting in 15, 9, 15, 14, 12, 3, 5, 7. He has stayed healthy this year, but he has averaged during that time, even though he's gotten older, he's averaged 17.6, 17.9, 13.4, 18.9, 17.7, 16.9. Like I said, this year, almost 28 yards per catch. Would you take a shot at Deshaun Jackson?
Position importance, history with Andy Reid. If they can get it done, and with that money, I would. I like him better than a tight end.
Yeah, I like him for almost nothing. Like, I think you might be able to get him if they release him. I would like a tight end as well. But, if Deshaun Jackson, if Andy Reid says, I can coach that guy, bring him on. Let's go. Wouldn't mind seeing Deshaun Jackson give another weapon to the Chiefs because he apparently can still run even at 35 years old. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back at it getting ready for Monday Night Football this Monday at 2.